Okay, hello. I'm Scott Hawley, and I want to introduce to you my thing called Opa, which originally stood for something. It was a acronym, but now it's just Opa. And what this is a recipe for connecting some existing tools together so that you can have a personal knowledge base and extended, efficient LLM chat sessions. And it's built off existing tools, and all I did was spend enough time to figure out how to hook everything up together. So the reason I'm charging a little money for it is because A, I think your time is worth it, and B, I think my time is worth it. So you're going to need to install Claude and Claude Code and iCloud, right? We're going to build it off of that. And then Obsidian is really, really handy. So if you download this package, you will get detailed instructions. Let me walk you through it really briefly, right? You can read the website, so I'm not going to go over all that, but we click on this, get Opa, and then we click on this, right? And it'll take you to a little, place on PayHip. And so, yeah, this is like selling blueprints. $10 will get you my tar file. And what is in there is a few things. There's a README file, and there are a few scripts. All right. And the README file has lots of instructions on how to pull this off. And a lot of it is automated with the script, the OPA setup script. So the preliminaries are installing these different things. You're actually going to initialize with Obsidian on your phone, and you're going to create a vault in Obsidian. You're going to title it Basic Memory because we're building this off of open source MIT licensed utility basic memory, and hooking that together with these other things. So once you do that, you're going to be able to build these really cool graphs that then they're human editable. So check this out down here. I'm traveling to Italy, and so the Italy trip was my first knowledge base of how I was connecting the different nodes for logistics and the different cities like Venice and Rome. And then actually, as I was building out this utility, actually what I hooked together isn't really that hard. If you're a savvy technical person, you can do it. It was the extra packaging for non-technical people that took so much time. But yeah, the scripts are all in there as well. And so the idea here is whether we're on our phone or on our desktop, we can be talking to this assistant. And so we've got Claude Code running over here. You're going to run Claude Remote or Claude Remote Control. It's actually the same command either way. And then on your phone or your Claude desktop, you're going to go to Code, right? So down on the side, we're going to have Code. And then you might need to pull down on it if you don't see the session that's actually here. This is Chunk Velvet Whistle. So we go there, and then this is the session. And same thing here on the Claude desktop app. So either one we want to do. And you may start with nothing in your graph. But we can say, yeah, let's create a whole new subgraph on the subject of bees. So we'll make the main note about bees, and then we'll make another note about the habits of bees, and we'll make a note about honey, and connect those three things together so that later when we want to talk about bees, you'll have that in your knowledge base. All right, and so it's going to go off and do its thing, and we could have been talking to the phone similarly, and it says, yep, I'm going to create these nodes, and the graph is going to update pretty much in real time. All right, so you can see, yeah, we got our bees, our bee habits, and our honey. And you're actually going to set up the Obsidian part on the phone, first of all, because that's where the good stuff happens. So if we go to our app switcher here, yeah, you can see we've got our graph here. And this has everything. Now, I'm not going to give you tutorials on how to use Claude or how to use Obsidian. This is just about hooking them together. But for example, the coloring, and we could look at individual subgraphs if we want. And there are plenty of other videos and tutorials and things on how to do that. But so through iCloud, we're not going to pay any subscriptions for any kind of extra hosting or extra servers. This is assuming that you're already paying for iCloud and you're already paying either for Claude Pro or you have an API key. You're going to run Claude login in a terminal. You are going to have to do a little bit of stuff in the terminal. I was trying to make it terminal free, but eh, there's actually, it's the Claude part that you need to run in the terminal. So these other scripts are there as well. I added a couple extra scripts. There's a backup script, so you can run Opa backup, and that will just back up the knowledge base and save it to your desktop. And then there's a Opa restore, which will restore that backup just in case you need it. And so, yeah, follow the instructions, set up a few things, run the setup script, and then you run your Claude in your Claude remote, and then you're done. And so, yeah, I'm running this thing off my laptop, off a Mac. Technically, this will work on Windows as well. I got it working on Windows, and there's a supplemental file that's going to be in the package. That'll be a README file for Windows if you want to try it, but that's kind of supplemental and extra. But yeah, so the Mac is now the server. Now note that if you close down the laptop, let's say, then that server is going to shut down. And sometimes you actually need to restart Claude Code. So I might be running one of these Windows things nonstop, and then there's no extra subscriptions, there's no nothing, and it's all right there. And so then this becomes my main interface for research and building things like trip logistics and knowledge about bees. So try it out. I hope you like it. And yeah, that's it.